Well, good morning, everyone. We're going to start the meeting. It's about 10:04. I hope that others will join us, but I certainly want to respect the time of all of our parents who have logged in and are ready to engage with me and with us as we move forward in Waterbury Public Schools. My name is Verna Ruffin. I'm the Superintendent of Schools. It's perhaps been quite some time since you and I have met face to face. And for others, perhaps when I've attended school activities at your school, if it was at a time during this 2 year that we have been partially in quarantine and opening up schools again, I may have seen you at some activities at schools, but lots and lots of virtual meetings. And so that's one of the reasons why this morning we have our meeting virtually for parents who prefer this time slot. And this afternoon, we're going to have one in person at the International School for Dual Language. Realizing that this is also occurring on the same night as the elementary parent and teacher conferences. We've recorded it, but also want to be respectful of the fact that if others would like to engage in a conversation, and this is totally inconvenient, I would appreciate hearing from you so that we would know where to be able to organize our meeting for future. We don't want to interfere. We know that we want our parents to attend parent-teacher conference. At the same time, I feel that this meeting, committee, this advisory is slightly delayed. COVID is not to blame for every single thing, but a lot has happened in the last 2 years. And we want to make certain that we never lose our focus on why we're here and how important parents and guardians are to the development of our children and our youth in Waterbury Public School and in the city of Waterbury. I'd like to introduce members of my staff. Superintendents don't lead alone. There is always a strong group of individuals with lots of talent, ready and willing and capable of sharing not only the vision, but communicating it and responding to the needs of our parents, our principals, our students, and our community in Waterbury. So I'd like to start off by introducing, I may not have a particular order because as I'm looking at the screen, I'm seeing, I have different views of the screen, but I would like to thank Jose. Jose is our technician, and Jose Sanchez, while you can't see him here, he was definitely visible earlier, and he is a very valuable member of the team and helps us with all the technological setups. And, should there be any recordings, he takes care of that. And also if there are any technical issues or concerns, he's able to do that. And he does it really well for all of us. Boleyn Michelis, my Director of Communications, Darren Schwartz, the Interim Deputy Superintendent, Miguel Pabon, Director of Pupil Services, Dr. Joe Johnson, who is showing up here as Darren Schwartz, but is Dr. Joe Johnson. He is our Assistant Superintendent. Jade Gopi. Ms. Gopi is Assistant Superintendent. We have Matt Brown, who is our Chief Turnaround Officer. We have Quenisha Brown, who is our Family and Community Engagement Manager. And those are my staff members who are on today, and that I could see visibly here on. As I said, it's a collective effort. I am totally committed to assuring you that as parents who are concerned with our schools, while sometimes you want to reach out to the superintendent directly, sometimes it's not going to be the superintendent that you will speak with, depending on the nature of the question or the relationship that you have or with a particular school or at what level the question needs to be answered. But the members of the staff that you're seeing now are very critical to either helping direct where those questions should be answered, as well as if it's a question that needs to be directed to me personally. The reason that we're meeting this morning is a has been in the making for quite some time. And Ms. Michelis is going to share the screen so we could talk about the 2 parent advisories that we are forming here at Waterbury and the reasons why. So today is an information session. You will have an opportunity to ask questions, which could help frame the agenda for future meetings. A lot has happened over the last 2 years, and we've had numerous community forums. We've had them in the mornings, in the afternoons, in the evenings. Almost all of them were virtual, especially after March 13th of 2020. Almost all of them were virtual, but we've had a number of them. We've developed a strategic plan for the district, and it was approved in the midst of COVID. We've communicated it, but sometimes even when you're communicating something, it doesn't just seem as if you've ever finished doing that, because there are always questions. There's always, so what do we do now? And especially we've learned that during the course of 2020, 2021, and 2022, the course has changed many times. We've had many different directives and guidance and what do we do now? And how does that impact me as a parent? How does it impact me as a teacher? How does it impact me on a staff wise? And so we are aware that you never can communicate enough. And so the parent advisory committees are intended to give you a direct line to the superintendent, a direct line to ask questions, but also to be a part of what we're trying to do in Waterbury Public Schools. As I said, the superintendent does not lead alone. Parents are an integral part of that. We hear what you say. The strategic plan will have goals that are really identified by parents for their children. But the critical missing piece was, how do you engage with parents, especially in this century? How do you engage in such a meaningful way that when a parent is working and you may not have the time to attend this meeting, how can you still become involved in what's happening in the district and have a say in what's happening with your children? So this parent advisory committee, the reason why establishing it is to have that platform for two-way communication. You don't want to only have the superintendent talk at you. You want to be able to talk with, you want to communicate, you want to ask questions, and you want to get some clarification if there's something that you think you understand, or maybe you don't even understand and you don't agree with, and you want to ask the questions so that you could best know how this is going to affect your child. This two-way communication is critically important for us to have. Also to help plan, and also to help to advise, because there are times when you really want to know and need to know, is it working this way? What will work best for you? And we want to take that under advisement. And I certainly want to take it under advisement as we're developing plans for the future. It is also a committee of parents that can help provide valuable insight into underlying dynamics about complex issues. Nothing has been easy over the last 2 years. Nothing was easy before that. But over the last 2 years, a lot has happened. An awareness of social justice, it was always there, but it has risen to a high level, and we want to address it. But what does that mean? So we want to have conversations about cultural beliefs and values that can inform me and can inform my team as we continue to move our district for the sole purpose of positive outcomes for our youth, because the children are the reason. That's why we're here. That's why we have jobs. That's why we are doing what we're doing. If it doesn't benefit children, and if it doesn't take them to higher levels for them to realize their dreams, if it doesn't take us to what we collectively created in the Portrait of a Graduate, then maybe we need to rethink why we're doing it. So we're going to have 2 parent advisory committees. One, I've simply labeled the superintendent's parent advisory, and the other one I've labeled the superintendent's special education parent advisory. The reason why I have 2 is because I have heard since I've been in the district in 2018 that it was critically important for our parents of our special education students to have an opportunity to dialogue with the superintendent. And now more than ever, I believe that that is critical. This is not a committee that's going to be discussing individual IEPs, but special education as a whole, special education as it is implemented in Waterbury Public Schools, and special education as we aim to meet some of the needs that were identified in the special education audit that we did about 2 years ago. So again, very important, 2 different committees. A parent could want to belong to both committees, but a parent who belongs to the special education advisory has some specific desire to help to develop and to cultivate special education services in Waterbury Public Schools in such a way that you want to be on this parent advisory team. We're going to focus on many things, but 3 primarily: expanding access, choice, and equity. You know, we have lots and lots of programs and lots of opportunities in Waterbury Public Schools, but you might not. And so this is an opportunity to hear from you, to share with you, and to have you share with us how we can expand access, choice, and equity. And about educating the whole child. You know, our portrait of a graduate very much is not just about one thing. It's not only about academic excellence in terms of grades. It's much, much more than that. And so educating the whole child. I know you've heard so much about the physical and the social and emotional well-being of our children, but that's more than, that's not a class, that's not a course. That's so the third focus will be on ensuring physical wellness and emotional safe schools. And a large body of this work and these conversations will be around our 2022-2030 strategic plan. Keep in mind that our strategic plan started as a 5-year plan. Then it became closer to a 7-year plan. By the time that we're finished this year, because this year, just the 21-22 school year has posed its own set of challenges. This plan could expand far beyond 2030, but for right now, it's a 2022 to 2030 strategic plan. And as you look to the right, you will see what that graphic looks like in terms of what our strategic plan is trying to accomplish, which is centered around those 3 areas of focus that we're going to be talking about in the parent advisory groups. So we've talked a little bit about this. Today's session, we're going to talk about the goal, which is very simple, and the purpose, again, very focused and very clear on what we're trying to accomplish, and of course the level of commitment from the members. And the members will be you as parents if you choose to participate as a member of the Parent Advisory Committee, and us because members of my team will be also participating in this committee with us. So the goal, we've established quite some time ago that we recognize the importance of maintaining open communication with our parents and guardians of our students. In addition, I recognize the importance of active engagement and participation with the parents. So not just let me talk to you, but rather that 2-way communication, that hands-on approach. So the 2 committees are specifically for the expression of providing that 2-way communication with parents. And our purpose, to engage our parents and guardians in a Waterbury community in crucial conversation and advising the superintendent in such a manner that we can positively impact students and youth in our schools and in our city. And a level of commitment. We're not going to be a committee that's just going to meet all the time. And while I said that this is going to be meeting once every 2 months for 1 hour, it could very well be that we don't need to meet once every 2 months for 1 hour. Maybe it's once every 3 months for 1 hour. But we have, after the committee is formed, we will establish how frequently we're going to meet, and we're going to establish some outcomes that we want to see. In other words, we're not just going to meet. What are some of the things that you should expect to see as a result of that? And this is the same question we asked when we met with parents and teachers and administrators and the community partners many months ago. I would say 2 and 3 years ago, when we began to identify a portrait of a graduate, when we met with my student advisory groups, we wanted to know, how will you know that what you're sharing with us will eventually be seen somewhere in the work that we're doing? So it should be evidenced, not just, okay, we're going to have another meeting, but where do we see ourselves in this bigger plan for Waterbury? And my voice does matter, because it does matter. The same goal and purpose and the level of commitment would be for our superintendent's special education parent advisory group. The very same, that close level of conversation and communication, and how do you see yourself in helping to shape practices and the work that we're doing in Waterbury. So the focus, the goal, the purpose is very much the same, but it is very possible that a parent who is specifically going to join the superintendent's special education parent advisory committee has a different level of questions or concerns, laws, and that you want to discuss on that level, and that time is going to be dedicated just for you. I'll stop here. This meeting is not intended to be a very long meeting in terms of my just talking to you, but it is very much for me to hear from you if you have any questions. And then, of course, to let you know that if you're interested in being a part of this committee, if you want to continue beyond this meeting that we're having today, this slide will show you exactly how to do that. And you can do it today if you'd like. Interested in being a committee member, you can join either one of the committees. You can scan this QR code and you could register. And then we will talk about, after parents have signed up, you will receive an email acknowledging that you are a member of this committee. And then we will set up our first official meeting of the advisories, which I would suspect would be probably in May. So I will answer any questions that you might have at this point. If you'd like to write them in the chat, you certainly may. Or I think that Jose can open up the microphone for a question. If it is a question that I could answer for everyone, I will. If it's a question that I need to get back with you on, I will do that as well.
Can you hear me?
Now I can, yes.
Okay. No, my question was, I know you put the scan bar there. Are you going to send this also to Parent Square?
Lynn, is this going to go out through Parent Square?
Yes, so the registration link will go out to Parent Square, most likely after today's in-person meeting. So expect it sometime later this evening.
Okay. And then I have one more question. So yeah, I kind of missed the first couple of minutes trying to load Zoom. I thought it was Google Meet, but it wasn't. So when we do these meeting things, how frequent would it be? Like once a month or?
Right now, we anticipate once every 2 months, but if we don't need to meet once every 2 months, if it's better to meet once every 3 months, then it would be once every 3 months.
Okay. All right. That was my question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are you going to join?
Yes, I was on, actually been on a couple of parent committees per COVID.
Okay, we'll be looking for you.
Okay.
Any other questions? I see someone has a hand up.
Hi there. Will the meetings be virtual or will they all be in person?
I'm sorry. I think I heard virtual, but I missed something. Could you repeat that?
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, will the meetings be virtual or will they be in person?
I would leave that up to the committee. Yeah, because for me, it could be either way. What I found so far is sometimes people prefer virtual, sometimes people prefer in person. That's why today I have both the meeting in person and virtual. But we can decide as a committee after people are have joined which way we're going to be meeting. Do you have a preference? Oh, I hope I didn't lose it. Do you have a preference whether the meetings are in person or virtual?
Actually, I would prefer virtual meetings because it just would work better with my schedule.
That's great. So just let me know that. I think one of the questions on the registration asked that.
Correct.
Okay,
So
I'll
part of the
definitely look into
registration
signing up.
question, Jody, part of the registration question is posed as, do you prefer virtual, do you prefer in person, or do you prefer having the option of a virtual within the meeting? And that does ask you, times that are preferable to you as well. So once we get those collective answers from the groups, then we'll be able to provide kind of a better preference for folks.
Okay, yeah, so then I'll definitely register and see where it goes. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll look forward to seeing your registration.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hi, I have a question. How do you scan this thing?
Yeah, so you just try to you open up your photos on your iPhone or your Samsung, and so it looks like you're going to try to take a picture. And so right before you look like you're going to take a picture, the actual web browser will pop up at the top of your screen, and you will click it, and it'll bring you into a Google form.
But how do I scan it from here? Like that's what I'm having.
So are you seeing the virtual, or are you just calling in?
I am in the call, like I can see it.
So if you see, like I said, open up your phone like you're going to take a picture of the screen, and once you have that picture open, it should scan the QR code, and a URL will pop up. But I will also send it this evening, the actual registration link after 6 p.m. today.
Oh, thank you. Okay, because I'm trying. I screenshotted it. I opened my camera. I'm trying. It's just not. I'm sure if I had a child with me, it would be done already.
No worries.
Sometimes they do just act. They're really quick about that, but we'll get it, and we'd certainly want to send it to you.
I could do Molly for you if it helps. We're gonna get that later to you, but if I open up my phone app and I'm gonna try to do this for you. We'll see if this works here. So if I just hold it up to the phone app, there'll be a little website that pops up when I hold it. But if that's not working, we will get it to you. But that's how it should work. But we know technology is finicky no matter where you are. So
I just wanted to add, I think the issue might be if the parent is on their phone, then they can't take a picture of their phone. So I think that if you are on your phone, you'll receive that link through Parent Square, and that'd probably be the best way to access it later on.
Any more questions? I saw a couple of hands up earlier.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
I was just gonna say that it's, the beauty of technology, especially with parents that have a changing work schedule and small children, being able to continue to be part of committees and use virtual, and maybe do a consensus, with the committees along the way, especially in the winter months. That is the gift of technology, because then, meetings get canceled, rescheduled because of weather. If they're virtual, that doesn't need to happen. So they can stay pretty much on course and keep working on the activities that are identified as important. So, because I know you're saying there you were having them, and some meetings can be where you have virtual participants and in-person participants. So I think that really invites more contribution from the community at large.
Thank you.
And I might join, but my daughter's graduating, so. But I've been very grateful to be a part of the school community here, Mrs. Ruffin. I think that you've done a wonderful job so far, and navigating the course in a very trying time that no one expected to happen. So, but I don't, I know you really want parents that are still have their children coming through the system. So, but it does interest me to hopefully help people, because I have 2 children now that are going on to college and went on to master's programs and stuff. So, I might join one of the committees. So.
Well, we'd love for you to join, and congratulations on your graduate, but we'd love for you to join. We have gotten, believe it or not, I have gotten such insight from alumni of Waterbury, from the students who've reached out to me way back to 2018. I've gotten a lot of insights, and so I welcome parents who've had children that have graduated, because you could share a lot of great ideas with us and some recommendations, or some things that could help us to look at the future differently. So please feel free to join if you're interested, and I appreciate your comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, I will then. Thank you so much.
Hi, good morning, Dr. Ruffin. Can you hear me? I had some audio problems earlier.
Yes, I can hear you very clearly right now.
Oh, that's nice. I better hurry before it acts up again. My general question is that I'm wondering, how does the committee differ than the current PAT committees that have been established already in some of the schools? And if there would be any sort of collaboration with the ones that are currently in place.
Well, this committee is not based on the schools. It's district-wide, so it's district citywide. A parent could belong to their school committee, and you would probably talk with the principal and others within that school community about your school. This is district-wide. So how do we have the parent voice on the district level beyond just what's happening in an individual school? And I think that's the bigger difference. Is I've heard that sometimes parents would like to talk with me or share some ideas with me. When you're talking or in your advisory at your school level, you're really talking with the leader of that school more than you're talking with the leader of the entire district. So this gives parent voice on the district level and not only on the school level.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Good morning. My name is Edith Figueroa, and I also have 3 daughters that one just currently is working on her master's from college. So this is the first time that I've even considered like joining a parent committee. And my question is, what is our responsibility as, being a part of that?
being open to having honest, open conversations, even critical conversations with the superintendent about what we need to know. Like, what would I need to know as a leader of this district from a parent to advise me, to give me some insight as to how we could do things better, or if we're doing something that you think is good, to share that too, but not a meeting just to be able to say, okay, this is really good, we don't need to do anything else, but rather, how can we do even more, or what do we need to do more to help our children so that they do meet the standards of the Portrait of a Graduate? You know, the Portrait of a Graduate was done collaboratively. I mean, it was a huge initiative, it still is, but it placed some characteristics that we want of our children. But the important work, the hard work is, so what are we going to do as a school system to redesign or recreate ourselves so that we allow our students to be that, we help them to be that, we might even need to push them to be that. And I think as a parent, to have a voice in that, beyond just, okay, so we have the strategic plan, we had parent voice in that, but so how are we going to make it happen?
Okay, I'm more interested in the special ed committee because I have a daughter that's also in special ed, and I feel like that in that area needs to be a little stronger because usually the focus is, you know, I don't want to say regular children because that's probably not the right wording, but a lot of times with the special ed children, they usually, that department doesn't have a strong voice. So that's what I would like to bring to the table.
And I would like to hear your voice at that table.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So my name is Aisha Stovall. I did have a question, and it's perfect timing because it's aligned with the person who spoke before me. So the application only allows registration for one of the two committees. So my question is, will there be any communication between the two committees? Or is there a way for parents who have students in both general education and special education to join both committees?
Well, if you would like to join both committees, I think that you should register for both committees. However, I think that one of the items that we should discuss and when we do hold our first committee meeting is, so what are we going to do with this information and how are we going to share it with others so that we know these are being addressed holistically? And after we have our first meeting, I think we're going to establish that.
Okay.
You know, so in other words, we're not just going to meet. What are we going to do with this information? How are we going to share it so that people know that there's a voice behind this, that there are real people behind this? And then how are we going to know that we're a successful committee? Because there should be some outcomes as a result of that, right?
Correct.
So very good follow-up question, but I think the work of that committee. So now what are we going to do with this and how are we going to communicate that on a larger platform?
Okay, and do you know when the first committee meeting will be?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I'm going to rely on the information from the people who are going to sign up because I believe one of the questions is whether they have a preference virtual or in person. I anticipate the first one will be sometime in May.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am not only a parent, but I also work in the community with a lot of parents that are struggling to actually find their voice or their rights as a parent to help their children in the school system. I'm a community outreach specialist, so I attend PPTs with parents. I try to find resources and just work with the family in all. And I see not only myself as a parent, I had to struggle with trying to get my son a PPT, communicating with the school. And so I think this is a good way to educate us parents and try to educate community specialists as well, as to help our students, progress in their education, because a lot of children are being left behind. And I think that we need to collectively find a way to educate parents and to let them know their rights as parents, and to advocate for the students out there, because there are so many students who have, disabilities, learning disabilities, and they're not getting addressed. So I think that this committee is helpful and should be informative, and as a way to actually help other parents to advocate for their children. So that's what I hope that we can come together and do as a community, because our children are just not getting or meeting the educational requirements that is needed to succeed in a college atmosphere or a university atmosphere. And a lot of them fear going into further education because they didn't receive the education that was needed while they were in school. So I think that if we address those fears, or the lack of education that they're receiving while they're in school, it will help them to progress into, maybe a different career, or they'll choose to go to college or to extend their education outside of school, if we address those fears.
Thank you. So you are currently a parent of students in Waterbury Public Schools, and you're
Yes,
going to be joining the committee?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you, yes, first I would like to say that I'm floored by this. I really appreciate this. This is something that is really needed, and I agree with the last parent. I am on the same page with her, and I have 4 kids. My oldest is about to be 20. Now I have 2 in high school and an 8-year-old that I'm currently homeschooling, because it is a task. It is a task, and to advocate for your child, it can be tedious, and it can be stressful, but at the same time, parents need to know, like the previous parent was saying, they need to know these things. They need to know their rights. They need to be able to have that voice. Because back when my son was in elementary school, he's almost 20. A lot of parents will come to me and ask me to, I don't know how, because I wasn't going around broadcasting it, but they knew, somehow they knew. And they will say, you make it look easy. And I would tell them, it's not easy. And they will say to me, I want to speak up, but I'm afraid that, my kids will suffer. And I would tell them, honestly, yeah, they will. But you got to keep fighting. You got to have that voice. You got to keep fighting, because if it's only a handful of parents that is speaking out, and then the rest are afraid, then the changes that need to be the changes that need to be done away with will not happen, because there's not enough voices, and there's not enough parents that know how to go about these things and what they can do, and how to go about, requesting the 504 meeting per se, and just in general, and parent teacher communication is vital, but it can also be, you know, depending on the individual, whether it's on the parent side or the teacher side. It can also be either respecting or disrespecting. So I think this is vital. This is vital for the school district, and I applaud you for this.
You'll be joining the committee.
Definitely.
Okay, well, we see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Jamie Rodriguez. I'm a parent of 3 current students in Waterbury Public Schools and 1 that has graduated. I'm also a licensed marriage and family therapist in the community. So one of my children is involved with the special ed program. So that's the committee I'm most interested in. I was just wondering, how many people are you looking to have on each committee, and how will that be structured?
I don't know what the interest is going to be, so I cannot answer that. My goal and my desire is to hear as many voices as possible. So I'm not really looking at elimination as much as I'm looking at, let's see how engaging this can be in a realistic way. Because you know, committees are so large, you can't get anything done. But at the same time, I don't know how large of an interest that we're going to have. So I have not put any kind of limits at this time.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. So are we.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Stephanie Barnes. I currently have a student that's in pre-K. No, I'm sorry, first grade. And I'm always wondering how the teachers are teaching the students in class, because it's always hard for me to kind of replicate what they're doing. So my question is there a way to, what's the word? To evaluate a child before they hit second grade to where you think it's a disability? Because I've been trying to find different ways to teach my son, and he's visual with everything. So with trying to talk to him and teach him is very, very hard. So I've been looking to try to find a way to get him evaluated, because I know he has some lagging with certain things that he's learning in class, and even with things at home. He has to do it like 100 or so times for him to replicate it. And I really think there should be an earlier evaluation, just to see what they're doing, just to see how they're learning. Because the way he's learning in school, it's very hard for me to replicate. And it gets my anxiety so high. And it's not helping him that I'm that way, but I'm currently on disability. So I deal with a lot of other things that I can't help. So some days I'm really, really sick and I can't help him. And sometimes, like, even when I'm asking his teacher, like, what is he doing, or how is he acting, or what else can I do to help him? And it's always like a big gap in between, because I can write her notes to let her know that he's not picking it up, or I don't know how to show him to do it. And to me, it's very, very hard when you don't exactly know how your child learns, or if he's on a spectrum, or if he has ADD or dyslexia, or, it's like a big gap in trying to find that out before they get to first and second grade.
Okay, Stephanie, one of the things I can tell you is that what we cannot do, and because this is a public platform, so I cannot go into details about any particular like child or but what I can do is address it in all of your questions that you have on an individual basis, on a private conversation that will take place at the level that's closest to where your child is attending school. So while I take your comments very, very seriously, I want to also make sure that I can answer you in such a way that it's going to help you. And that may not be something that we can do in a committee, because it sounds like something that needs to be addressed on a personal, individual level as soon as possible. So what I'm going to do at this point, because this is a public platform, I'm going to share with you my telephone number. You can call and you can give me your information so I know things that are private and confidential, and I can direct it to the right person to answer all of your questions. Is that okay? Are you there? Did I lose her?
I think we lost her.
I think she's trying to connect to audio again. Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah. Did I lose you? Did you hear anything that I said?
I heard everything. I was trying to get connected.
That's okay. So here's my telephone number. And that means everybody who's listening can have it too. It is 203 560 3721. Now, you can send me a text. You can tell me who you are. And that way I will have the information that I need to make certain that a member of our team and the person or persons that could answer all of the questions that you've just asked can be answered at the level that is closest to your son. Does that sound good?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you can text me now if you want to. I think my phone is off, but I'll get your message and I will answer you to let you know that I've gotten your message. And that would be for anybody who's on this. I don't have a problem if you text me, just tell me who you are. And I will make sure that it gets to the appropriate staff number. I'll repeat the number. It's 203 560 3721.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Hi, I'm sorry. I was just on the phone with Tanya. I was trying to get through. I couldn't unmute myself for some reason. Good morning. I just wanted to also comment, I've been listening, obviously I listened to your talk and to the parents who are reaching out as well. I have a son who is in special education here in Waterbury. He's in 7th grade. And I definitely agree with the previous parents where, we need very strong voices for special education. And one of the things that another parent, Tanika James, she mentioned that she not only is a parent, but also a community worker. And about 4 years ago, as my kids were going through pre-K and kindergarten in the system, I was a community worker as well for 11 years. And I can tell you that it was very difficult, trying to navigate, help the parents out, help them with their rights, trying to get their kids help. So I think, I'm very excited about this committee getting together, because I think everybody needs to see everybody's side. So, from a community member to now a parent, to, in your position, what are some things that, we can all collaborate on to make it better for our parents trying to navigate this process? And not just the school, but also all of the community resources that our parents, in addition to asking for things in school, can request from community providers. So you know, and one thing that I want to talk about a lot of things, but I just want to touch on some topics because I want to be on the committee for special education. And I think it would be awesome if we had the option of virtual and in person, just because, you know, I'm sure all these families, whether they have job obligations or sporting events with the kids. I know yesterday I was on a PTA meeting for ACEs for my daughter, and I was at a basketball practice. So I was able to go in the hallway, join the meeting, not miss anything, and yet still be there for my daughter. So, you know, this technology, these times, you know, have been very difficult, but I think in addition have opened up ways for us to still participate if that's what, you know, let's say we as parents really want to do. But I did want to mention that sometimes, you know, it just seems that, you know, we can have these conversations, but then when we sit in a meeting and we're, you know, talking to that special education supervisor, sometimes everything just turns sideways. Like, you know, here it is, you know, if your kid needs help with audio, it's like the district doesn't seem, I just had a parent reach out to me and say this, their child needs help with some kind of audio or visual, you know, device, and the district refused. No, we can't do it, even though they had doctor's notes, so on and so forth. And then when the mother was able to get it through the insurance, through a long process, they're like, oh yeah, make sure that you're bringing that in because, you know, your child really needs it. And it's like, yeah, I've been trying to get this from the district, not because of any other reason, but to help my child have access to education like everybody else. So this is just one of many, 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 many stories. And I just feel that, you know, if there's a particular body of people that are responsible, that are blocking access, I think we really, you know, need to have honest conversations about how to get our kids to where they need to be, you know, for that portrait of a graduate, you know. So I have a lot more to talk about, but I don't want to take any more time. I do want to say that when one of the parents talked about retaliation is real, because even myself talking to parents and trying to get other parents to support in whatever cause, you know, retaliation comes up and people, you know, don't want to fight. People don't want, you know, people to take out things on their kids. And it's sad, but it's real. Like, you know, this is a feeling that parents out there have, and a lot of times this is why they're not speaking up. So I just wanted to share that. I know it's a lot, but I'm looking forward to being a part of this committee and just seeing how we can all collaborate and come together and make things better for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you joining the committee. Again, you know, the committees are, you know, in respect to everyone's privacy. This is not the forum to talk and bring out a child's name because I would feel that I'm disrespecting the child. So, and I would certainly be breaching confidentiality. So I ask that we not do that. But when we do have meetings, you will be able to say this and so much more in a meaningful way, in a platform that allows the assistance to be at the level that would impact the child the best and the quickest way. Additionally, I hope all of you join a committee, either one, because I look forward to having this conversation, and not only a conversation, but some action behind where people are concerned, where they have questions. I also want to add that our Welcome Center is being restructured, and Quinn, who is on the screen this morning as a member of our team, she is the Family and Community Engagement Manager of the Welcome Center, which is a plethora of resources for our parents as they're registering into the district. The resources anywhere from answering questions about immunization, enrollment, registration, which schools options we have across the district, because we have many, to addressing homeless, to addressing the any bilingual services, special education services, records. All of that falls within a department that she is now leading in 1 Jefferson Street, that building. And additionally, that particular department, that particular office has a way of communicating with all 33 schools that we have across the district. And so during the committee meetings, I would love an opportunity to be able to talk about this, because I do believe that there are some services that are being underutilized in the district. And as we're structuring this new office, but I think that a lot of the questions that you have can be addressed a lot of different ways, but some of them I think are just perhaps underutilization of our welcome center that we have, and others at the school level, because that's the level that is closest to where the child is. And so I look forward to hearing where your concerns are and being able to address it so that we can make a difference. We're not just going to be meeting just to be meeting. Do I have any other questions? Yes, we have the ability to speak with our families in multiple languages. And we do have at the Welcome Center opportunities to dialogue with our families, not only in English, but also in Spanish. And with some advance notice, we can also provide language in Albanian as well as Portuguese.
We also have the new translation service coming out that went to the Board of Education last night, that will allow us to utilize a translation service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to be able to communicate with families, whether it be in just a typical communication home and or PPT. So that just went to the Board of Education last night. It should be passed in about 2 weeks. And so we'll certainly have that service for all of our parents, certainly by the start of the next school year.
Are there any other questions? And I see that Jose has enabled the chat. So if you're not able to ask your question verbally, you can write it in the chat.
I do have a question. Okay, I'm not really a social person, so I don't really know what goes on in the city of Waterbury. So I wanted to know, how can I find out if involved with what's going on?
I missed part of that. It just went out, but I heard the part about you're saying you're not a social person. And then the next thing I heard was, how do I find out information? It depends on what information you're trying to seek. I always direct parents and families to seek the information you need at the level that's closest to where the question resides, your child. So it could be the teacher, which would depend on what question you're having. That would be the first point of contact. If it is not only the teacher, it could be the assistant principal or the principal of the school. It could also be the special education supervisor if it happens to be a question relative to special education services and based on the disability. So all of that is contingent upon what kind of question is it and how close are you going to be able to ask that question that impacts the child at the level that someone can answer you the quickest with the best information provided. That's my recommendation, because that always works first. In the absence of that, let me give you an example. If someone has a question or comment or even a complaint, and you go directly to the superintendent's office because you want to speak to someone in one of the district offices, while someone in the district office would respond to you, they can't give you the full answer because the full answer resides at the level that's closest to the child. So they would have to just do all of that, and it would take that much longer to be able to get an answer. And they'll probably have to go back and forth and ask more questions because they won't have the whole picture. So the best way, the first way, is the level that's closest to the child. I hope I answered that question for you. Yes, they're not just the new paperwork, but Waterbury has actually piloted electronic version of IEPs. It's a new system that the state of Connecticut, I believe, has adopted, and I think we agreed to do some piloting around that. And we'll continue to do that. Miguel, I don't know if you want to add a little bit, just because someone is asking, there's new paperwork for the IEP. Is it going to be an information session provided by the district?
Yes, some information has gone out, and as we get information from the state, we will be sharing that as well. This is related to the state of Connecticut has decided to change the format of the IEP. That is going to go into effect on July 1st this year. Staff in Waterbury and other districts across Connecticut are currently undergoing some training. We are a pilot district. We will have additional training for staff over the summer and into next year, because it's not only a new IEP, it's also a new electronic system that every single district in the state will have and be using the same system. So the pro to this is oftentimes when a student moves from one city to another city, the IEP will look the same, it will be in the same system, it will be a lot more easier to acquire that information. In terms of training for parents, again, there have been several sessions the state has offered. We shared that through a Parent Square message back, I believe, in February. As other ones are offered, we will share more of those moving into the summer.
Thank you, Mr. Pavone. I also would like to share that we are doing our website is getting a redesign. Once it gets redesigned, it's been a long process in coming, but once we finally get there, information will be a lot easier for parents to find. And so the question that one of our parents, I believe is Stephanie, asked, I don't have a lot of access to transportation. How can I find out what events me and my son be involved in? There are a number of ways. One is Parent Square, because we send out a lot of notifications through Parent Square. Another is through the various social media sites that we have, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. Your individual schools also have access currently to a lot of information that they can share with parents. So from the individual school level, you might get a Parent Square notification that there's something going on that you or your children can participate in. I also want to add that transportation, depending on what the need is, transportation options, there could be some transportation options that could be provided to you and your children. I also want to make all the parents aware, and we're really excited about this. This summer, we're going to have huge opportunities for students to participate in camps, and it won't cost a thing. And it also won't require you to have transportation because there's going to be transportation available. This is anywhere from summer school programs on the academic side, or extended school year, or summer camps with the parks and recreation, to swim lessons, to participation in the PAL program, to athletic programs, to coding programs, math, science, technology, and science programs. There's going to be a menu, and there's a website for it. If any of you remember the website, you can help maybe put it in the chat box so our parents can go to that website. There's also going to be job opportunities for students to be able to earn a little money while if they happen to be a little older and they could work during the summer, they could make a little money on the side doing that work. So this summer, we did it last summer. It was very well attended, but we're going to do it this summer, and it will provide a lot of activities for children all summer long at no cost. Any other questions? This is a fun group. I'm so happy to meet you. Yes, I believe someone did put the information about the summer programs in the chat box, but maybe we could put it there again. So anyone from my team have that website for the summer camps, the summer opportunities, summer website?
I think Isa put one in there, and I think for the one that's upcoming for the upcoming year, Doctor is just getting worked out as those new coordinators come on, and so we have that will be launching. That will be sent through Parent Square shortly. I just don't want to direct them because I think there's some programs still up from last year on that website until we clean that up. So I would say in the next 2 weeks that parents should be expecting that.
Okay. All right.
I want to say hi to Jessica. I think I know her son Manny.
Well, I want to thank everyone for attending. We said the meeting was going to be an hour. It's lasted a little bit longer. It doesn't matter. It could last as long as you need it, but I so appreciate you, want to value your time. We have another meeting this evening. It's going to be the International School for Dual Language. And then I hope that we receive lots of registrants to participate in the 2 parent advisory groups that will be formed. As soon as we have that information, we'll be sending out acknowledgement that we have received your registration, and we're going to schedule the time for our first official meeting. I want to thank you so much for participating, and I so look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.